In the foothills of Virginia lies Martinsville Speedway, home for the final round before the championship race tonight. Martinsville Speedway plays host to the biggest race of the season so far. I'm joined in the booth with Chris Spear. Chris, we got 6 drivers vying for 3 spots to make it into the championship 4.
And what a better track than Martinsville to do it. This short track, Jared, is so tiny, so small. There's every opportunity to be able to get around someone. Well, as long as you're willing to put a bumper to them.
You're exactly right, and let's take a look at Martinsville Speedway. This is a paperclip shaped track, pretty much flat, half-mile oval track, and it's a beauty. And we saw Sunday what can happen at the track. Well, going into today's race, we had 8 drivers. This is the round of 8, but unfortunately, Brian Helm removed after some actions that happened in the Truck Series event on Wednesday night, and he is no longer going to be eligible in the Cup Series as well. So that leaves us with 7 drivers. Casey McMullen punched his ticket to Phoenix with a win last week at Kansas. Controversial win at that. He gets himself into the championship 4, Chris, and you look at the rest of the 6 competitors. We got Bernard Person. We got regular season champion Bobby Terrell. We got underdogs Ralph Nolen and Wayne Grasse, and then we have pretty much must-win Brodie Hannah back there in 7th place.
Absolutely. We watched it all throughout the playoffs. Ralph Nolen Jr. and Wayne Grasse, they've kind of played the underdog card, Jared. They haven't really been stand out, but they've done exactly what they need to get to this point in the chase. Unfortunately, tonight, that's not going to matter. You're going to have to do a lot more if you're those 2 drivers to get up here and still win. But no one's safe. Dale Nearad, not safe in the 4th position at the moment. He's just got 10 points over Ralph Nolen Jr. And at a track like Martinsville, 10 is pretty easy to lose pretty quickly.
Yeah, apologies. Did miss Dale Nearad there, so thanks for picking that one up. But as you see, Casey McMullen is up at the top of the board. He is into the championship 4. Coming into tonight, Bernard Person is in 2nd. He has a 3-point gap on Bobby Terrell and a further 21-point gap on Dale Nearad. Dale Nearad has the last position. He is 11 points better than Ralph Nolen and 12 points better than Grasse. So that is going to be the difference. And as you see, Brodie Hannah back there in 7th place. Brian Helm, as we already talked about, he was expelled from the league from actions on Thursday night.
Jared, these drivers, the ones that are starting outside that cutoff line, Ralph Nolen Jr., Wayne Grasse, and Brodie Hannah, they're going to have to do everything they possibly can to get up here and be competitive early on. It's also going to mean that we can expect to see a little bit of aggression out of these drivers. There's no more time to sit around in the back and just kind of play quiet. They've got to make it on their own. They can't rely on help from anyone else. We already seen that Casey McMullen, he took that opportunity last week, maybe a little bit aggressive at one point, but able to get the win nonetheless. And still, he is out here tonight. He's going to give it everything he can. I talked with him at the end of the race last week. He said Martinsville is a fun track. It's a lot of a perseverance of you as far as a driver, because you have to be able to watch not only the front view of the car, you've got to watch the mirror all the same. You're basically braking when the guy behind you is braking as well. You got to watch that the entire race long. Makes it that much more difficult around this track.
Sure will, and you see on the screen the qualifying results as we're scrolling through there. Chris, you go back to Martinsville all the way back in April. Dale Nearad, the only driver not locked in the playoffs to finish inside the top 10. Casey McMullen also finished inside the top 10 in 10th. But you had Ralph Nolen finish 11th, Wayne Grasse 12th. Then you had Bernard Person back in the 23rd position, Bobby Terrell 16th, Brodie Hannah 27th. You look at this, Chris, is this a kind of a survival, kind of like you talked about with Casey McMullen, said you kind of have to survive this race to be there at the end?
Well, I think if you're Casey McMullen, yes, the answer is you obviously want to just get to the end and have a shot to actually be competitive. But for everyone else, basically in this 7-car chase, I think you don't have that luxury like he does. You've got to get up there early. You need to figure out a way to get any bonus points that you possibly can, just so that way you can make it that much farther. If you're drivers that are sitting in that 2nd through 3rd second and third, and maybe even fourth, you've got to get up here. You got to lead laps. You got to be able to add as many points between you and the drivers behind you as possible. I don't think any of those drivers can sit around and just wait for this race to be over.
And Chris, we'll have to see how aggressive everybody will be here tonight. But as you said before, we have 3 spots up for grabs. 6 drivers will have that opportunity. 3 drivers will be sending out the championship round. We look at the rest of these qualifying results, Chris, and we'll go through the lineup, obviously. But Brodie Hannah, did not put a time down. Neither did Wayne Grasse. How much is that going to affect their strategies coming into this race?
It just means you have to be that much more aggressive on a strategy. When others may pit, you may end up staying out to get those critical track position here that you're going to need, Jared.
We got about 50 seconds until these drivers finish up warm-up here tonight. When we talk about Martinsville, we look ahead to Phoenix next week. Totally different track than Martinsville, but somebody's going to be crowned a champion. Bernard Person, the defending champion, the 2020 season winner. Try to say that 3 times fast. He is still alive. Then we have Bobby Terrell looking as the regular season champion to kind of put a cap on his season. And then we have a lot of guys in that other flex position there. Casey McMullen, longtime veteran at FTSR, hadn't won a single race this entire season, but had led the points for 10 races at one point in time at the beginning of the year. Gets his first win, a clutch win to get himself into the championship 4. Could he get it done? We'll find out all that next week. But tonight it's the paper clip, and these drivers, as you see them in the distance, making their laps at Martinsville for the final time before the green flag drops. Chris, any final thoughts on Martinsville Speedway tonight?
My final thoughts are going to be simple. Be there at the end. Do whatever it takes, whether that means you have to push guys out of your way to get to the end of this race. Whatever it's going to take. If you need those points, figure out a way to get there.
Well, here we go. Cars lining up. Let's take a look at our starting lineup here tonight at Martinsville Speedway and show you who is on the grid for the final race of the season before the championship round. Darren Bruce, a spoiler in this round already, grabs pole position with an 18.789. He's alongside regular season champion Bobby Terrell. In row number 2, Bruce's teammate Josh May with his best qualifying effort of the season alongside Bernard Person, another championship contender. Bill Benedict and Troy Torgerson from Frontline Esports, they'll be in row number 3. Row 4 will be Kenneth Schultz with his best qualifying effort in the Cup Series this year in row number 4 with Mark Figueroa. Row 5 will be Lane Allen and TJ Bartel, Chris.
Behind them, Tony Solari and Dale Nearad will make up row number 6. Row 7 going to be Richie Coy and Chuck Sweeney. Row number 8 is going to be Ralph Nolen and Sherwood Williford. Row number 9 going to be Chad Lang and Adam Newton. And row number 10, Jason Spear and Josh Johnson.
Looking at the rest of the lineup, Wayne Grasse and Gil Gach, former teammates at the beginning of the year, they're going to start back in row 11. Row 12, Rupert and James Torrey making another start for James Torrey. And rounding out your final row will be Brodie Hannah and Brandon Elder. Also, we have Steve Loomis. He is actually not shown there in 27th. He'll line up shotgun on the field tonight as the drivers will take a look at trying to grab that huge victory to punch their ticket into Phoenix. We talk about him right now. Pace car lights are off, and Bobby Terrell will line up on the outside, and that's a tough place to be at the start. Pace car drops off. It's going to be Darren Bruce, the winner from Texas, alongside Bobby Terrell, the regular season champion. Coming off turn number 4. Here we go. Lights are off. Green flag is out, and we are racing at Martinsville.
Darren Bruce getting a great jump on the number 5 going into turn 1. Easily pulls 2 car length lead over the 5. Now the 5 under attack by the 0-2 of Josh Mayhew.
Everybody doing good deeper in the pack. Brodie Hannah may have clipped down underneath the pit lane, but he is good back there at the back. And the first lap at Martinsville will be Darren Bruce's.
Those drivers that started on the outside line, Jared, they actually have been able to prevail a little bit here as they're able to pull up dead even. Now the second row basically have ended up being, or that outside row has made their way to second, third, and fourth on the track.
Lot of
TJ Bartel all the way up against the wall in 3 and 4.
A lot of issues. Kenneth Schultz locked up his brakes, That kind of forced him into a 3-wide position, and Bill Benedict has spun in front of the field.
That'll bring out our first caution here just on lap 2, Jared. That is not the way that these drivers are looking to start off this race.
There's several drivers stopped. I don't know if anybody else got damaged. Looks like maybe Jason Spear with damage, but let's take a look and see what happened to Bill Benedict. And we'll actually start with what happened to Kenneth Schultz, because I think that is kind of what set this whole thing up a little bit, maybe. So you see right there, Kenneth Schultz gets in the back of Bill Benedict. And that's the first little incident that we see there on the screen. Nothing major. Kenneth Schultz, though, gets into the corner, and he has to lock up for Mark Figueroa. Lane Allen gets underneath of him. That forces TJ Bartel wide. At the same time all that's going on, we got Bill Benedict up here toward the front of this field, and he just gets in there, Chris, gets loose, right in front of Figueroa, hops the curve. It looks like Tony Solari, Chuck Sweeting, they got some damage out of it. Chad Lang with some damage as well. We'll get another look at what happened to Bill Benedict, but tough start for the number 90, Frontline Esports number 90.
Jared, we talk about it every week that loose is fast. Unfortunately, we're usually meaning loose on the exit of the corner, not in the entry or middle of the corner. That's what happened to that number 90 of Brucey Frontline Esports machine of Bill Benedict, and that he just had nothing that he could do. There was too many drivers right behind him. There's no way that any of them could check up in enough time to prevent damage, and a lot of good drivers, Jared, now have damage going into this race.
And we're on board Sure Williford while you were talking there, Chris, and it looks like Ralph Nolen Jr. may have gotten some of that damage. Yes, the hood is missing and the rear end's missing. Let's take another replay look at what happened from on board Ralph Nolen, the number 90 machine. Number 95 machine, apologies. And he's deeper in the field, 2 wide in front of him. TJ Bartel and Chuck Sweeting ahead of him for Gator Racing. And you see Benedict getting loose, and he just doesn't see it. Gets into the back of Chuck Sweeting, and then gets into the back, gets ran into by Sure Williford, and then gets into Tony Solari. So kind of a chain reaction. That's kind of what we expect in Martinsville, but one of our championship contenders already damaged and already on pit road.
Now, Jared, that isn't cause for concern quite yet, as these cars can pretty much look like a modified around this track and be okay. Even some might speculate if you lose that right front fender, it may be actually better for your car. The problem is going to be whether or not he ends up being overheating throughout the remainder of this race. Didn't look like it was too bad. He was on and off of pit road pretty quickly, so only fixed 6.7 seconds worth of damage there. So hopefully this number 95 gets out there and still is competitive and holds pace.
Flag band holds the flag up. Little slate on the start, and we are back green racing here at Martinsville. Darren Bruce with a great jump, and Bobby Terrell will slide into second place. Torgerson under pressure from Bernard Person. Torgerson was maybe one of those championship contenders, but unfortunately had a rough race at Las Vegas that kind of destroyed his championship hopes, but he's still out here trying to finish off the season strong. And there he is. Mark Figueroa, Josh Mayu, teammates battling for positions. We go back to Kenneth Schultz, still 2x2 back here. Dale Nearad underneath Lane Allen for 9th place.
Dale Nearad showed some quick pace in the little warm-up session that we had, was on top of the speed charts in that warm-up, so he's definitely got some speed. Right now, Meyer back in some traffic with Lane Allen. Tony
Solari back on pit road with some more damage repairs on that number 74 machine sustained in that wreck. He finished 4th place back in the spring. Doesn't look like that's going to happen tonight. Gil Gawk did not make the start, so he is already out. Bill Benedict in the pits 6 laps down, so already a tough start for the number 90 as he may not get back out here. We look further back. Wayne Grasse, another playoff contender. He is back there in 13th position. Josh Johnson behind him. He did get through that incident, Chris. No damage on the number 7 machine. That's got to be a good thing because he almost got involved in that one as well.
He did. He and Brodie Hannah was able to get through it without any damage. Both of those drivers already +8 on the field here tonight because of that caution, bunching everyone else up. But now we've kind of got a little bit of a lull as these drivers are kind of running single file all throughout the track.
There you see Brodie Hannah. He is the second lowest of all of our championship contenders. Ralph Nolen with that damage. Chris, he looks off pace. Is that cause for concerns for the 95 already?
Jared, he actually was on pit road or coming off pit road when they took the green, so he was already about a half a lap back. I think he's just not been able to catch the field yet. I think he's kind of doomed, though. If we don't get a quick caution here, he's going to be a lap down before too long.
And we'll bring up that track map real quick to give you guys at home kind of an idea of what this track looks like. And you can see right there, Darren Bruce across the line now, Ralph Nolen Jr. across the backstretch line at the same time. So already Ralph Nolen half a lap down. We got wrecking already. It's TJ Bartel. And it looks to be a single car accident with the number 88 machine. May have gotten loose off turn 4. We'll take a look. So here he is. He's got Sherwood Williford behind him. Pretty big gap, so I don't believe there's any contact. Gets deep into turn number 4. Oh, he gets up on that curbing, Chris, and just does a lazy spin. And unfortunately, that's enough to bring out a caution. But otherwise, TJ Bartel not hampered by that one at all. Definitely benefits Ralph Nolen Jr., though.
That it does. It'll catch him up to the back of the field. He'll be able to go back down pit road and get a little bit more of those repairs done. But yeah, TJ Bartel caught those curbs, and Jared, those curbs are almost about 6 inches tall. So once you hit them, you're definitely going around, even at least in the middle of the corner. You can kind of hit them on the entry and not spin it around, but it takes a lot of skill to be able to hold those cars down when you're that far into the corner.
It's one of those things that Martinsville added in to kind of enhance the track, if you will, and also maybe keep people off the grass, which I believe in real life the grass is gone. Am I right? I don't remember seeing that on Sunday.
Correct. The grass is no longer there, Jared. They got rid of that. They put the curbs in because of the idea that that would keep them off of the grass. You had a lot of drivers that would kind of dive bomb the corner, and this kind of tried to prevent that. The problem was that once you got over the curb and into the grass there, you weren't able to get out of it. So they decided to go ahead and pave the entire thing. It looks like we're going to have a couple takers on pit road. Nope, that was just Bobby Terrell on the 5 trying to fake the rest of the field out.
Chuck Sweeting will be the lucky dog, so he'll get a lap back. He'll get back on the lead lap, and he'll get caught up to the field. Ralph Nolen did come down pit road in the number 95 machine. He's just now getting to his stall right now, and he is going to get some more damage repaired on that machine. And he is not going to get a lot of damage repaired because these guys are coming off turn number 4 right now, so he'll have to get that thing going forward here in a second. And he is down away.
Yeah, Jared, only in the pit stall for about 16 seconds working on that damage. This track being so small makes it that much harder for these drivers to actually get repairs made and get back out on the track.
And the other thing, too, is pace car speed is 40 miles an hour. Pit road speed is 35, so that it also kind of hinders things just a little bit.
And Jared, that actually deviates from the real world. Real world pit speed is actually 30, so they get a little bit of an advantage here going 5 miles an hour over.
Yeah, they do. They do definitely do that. It's pretty slow as it is, but right now 24 drivers still in the race. We started with 27. Gil Gauck did not make the start. Bill Benedict involved in a lap 2 incident. And he has called it a night on his race. Tony Solari involved in that wreck. He's 4 laps down. The other 24 drivers on the lead lap. Ralph Nolen, the lowest of our championship runners, in 23rd. Brodie Hannah in 15th. Wayne Grasse 11th. Dale Nearad 10th. Bernard Person in 3rd. And Bobby Terrell in 2nd. And Casey McMullen decided to forego racing this. He did not race tonight in Martinsville. So he is not here, but he is going to be in Phoenix fighting for a championship next week. Pace car is off. Darren Bruce has led all 20 laps so far. Bobby Terrell trying to get up here, maybe get a bonus point, help his chances. Green flag back out here at Martinsville.
Great start by both the 06 and the 5 there. Bobby Terrell was sliding that car back and forth on those tires, though. That's going to give the lead easily over to Darren Bruce. Now Person looking underside the 5 going into 3.
Bernard Person, the number 8 machine. He puts this car up to 2nd place just ahead of Bobby Terrell. Torgerson in 4th and Mayu in 5th. Back behind them, Lane Allen and Richie Coy battling. Richie Coy won the race at Martinsville earlier this year. What can the 19 car do? Almost gets in the back of Kenneth Schultz as there was a little bit of a checkup there. back there. Brandon Elder up the track in the number 18 machine. Rupert will go underneath him. Rupert up 9 positions. Brandon Elder up 13, so both these drivers moving forward from the back of the field.
They work to get single file as Richie Coy and Lane Allen are the only two really side-by-side up in your top 10. These two drivers going at it. Richie Coy going to prevail. Dale Nearad looking to get underneath Lane Allen, not able to make it work in this corner.
And right now, as things stand, our championship 4 not changing hands. Remember, Ralph Nolen Jr. 11 points behind, and he's even further behind tonight. Wayne Grasse is also right there, 12 points behind, and right now he is losing a point to Dale Nearad. Person and Terrell at this point in time look safe at this moment. But we're only 25 laps, 10% into this race, Chris.
10%, but these two up front, Person, Terrell, trying to prove exactly why they are these championship contenders. Being tight all season long between these two. Really, the one that's had the biggest struggles is the 5 car during the playoffs, but he's come alive these last couple of races when it mattered. That's showing how clutch Bobby Terrell in the 5 can be.
Bobby Terrell, you see him there. We'll actually go back to him. There he is in the number 5 machine for Wayne Grasse Racing. And he is doing a job out there tonight trying to get that number 5 machine. The regular season champion, only 1 win this year, Chris, but that might not tell the whole story, as he had the lead at a couple races and just ended up getting bit on a late race caution or a fuel strategy or something, and ended up only grabbing 1 win, but was far more competitive than that record showed.
Up front, Darren Bruce has got a 5/10 second lead on Bernard Person. They're kind of doing 2 different lines up here up the front. Person is right around the bottom of the track. Bruce kind of doing a diamond technique in the middle of the corner there. So it's a little interesting to see that these 2 drivers taking 2 different paths along this track, but really running about the same lap times. Person looks a little bit faster in 1 and 2, but loses it in 3 and 4.
Looking on board back from Darren Bruce. And you see Bernard Person drove in really deep there, Chris, and that's going to lose him a lot of time, as now Bobby Terrell is going to lock up on him.
Just like that, all this momentum changes hands a little bit there. Person able to close back in on Bruce, though, but Terrell's right there with him now.
Top 4 kind of have a little bit of a gap. Then you have Mayu in 5th position. Behind them, you see the top 4 really nose to tail, as you see Mayu and teammate Mark Figueroa in 6th and 7th. Ken Schultz doing a good job in 7th. Richie Coy has settled into 8th. Lane Allen in 9th. And Dale Nearad holding off Wayne Grasse right now for the top 10, knowing that he's got a 12-point lead on Wayne Grasse coming into this race, Chris, so he doesn't need to really push the issue at all.
No, he doesn't, Jared. At this point, he can be a little bit of relaxed as long as he can stay up in this lead area. As long as he's within the podium, I think he's got nothing really too concerning to worry about. Now Bernard Person looking to change his lineup a little bit, kind of following Bruce around there. That's also an interesting thing about this track, Jared. As you're running closer and closer to drivers, usually you start making your break points the same as theirs to see if it's an advantage. Sometimes it helps your car in the way that you're driving, but other times it can make the handling seem to fall off of these cars. Currently working for Person, though. Person
has gained a ton of time over the last couple laps, and now he is all over the back bumper of Darren Bruce. If we look out the back bumper cam, and you'll see how Bernard Person's doing it. He's taking a little bit earlier entry than Darren Bruce. Darren Bruce diving in a little bit more, and he gets a good run off the corner because of it right there, Chris.
Yeah, it definitely worked for Bruce there at that moment, making that lead almost 6/10 over Person. It's really kind of stabilized out between these top 3, but Torgerson is completely on the bumper of that 5 machine. If he slips, he's going to be there.
Let's look out the back of Bobby Terrell. Bobby pretty solidly in, 21 points above the cut line. Chris, what do you do if you're in that situation? You right now there's 24 drivers still on the track. 25 drivers still on the track. So I mean you're not safe, but you're kind of close. You don't want to give anything up. You want to go out there and get wins, but Torgerson loose off the turn 4.
Actually, Jared, based on that, it would sound like unless we have a new winner, he would be locked in this field.
Let's do the math on that. So he is currently 28 points above Ralph Nolen. So yes, you are correct. Bobby Terrell has punched his ticket, as has Bernard Person, thanks to the field size we have and the fact that we already have 2 drivers, maybe 3. I think Brandon Elder has taken his car to the garage. So with 24 drivers still running, that means basically, yeah, Bobby Terrell and Bernard Person, not officially, I don't want to sit here and say officially, but they are, yeah, actually Bernard Person is officially in, 31 points above the cut line. So there you go, Chris. He is 100% in. So is Casey McMullen. So 2 spots left up for grabs.
That they are, and pending a new winner, I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb and say that Terrell will be right there with those 2 drivers. So now you've got 4 drivers really, battling for that last spot, Jared. You're going to, if you're following the broadcast, you kind of get a little bit of an advantage because you understand what's going on, and we kind of fill those drivers in. And I know a couple of those drivers that are in the playoffs, that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, Bobby Terrell, 28 points to the good. So yes, he is officially in. We can call it, feel like the election night. So we're going to call it. Bobby Terrell is in. So that's going to give us 1 spot between the remaining 4 drivers. Nearad has that spot. Grasse is trying to get it, and Hannah is in 14th, and he needs a lot of help, Chris, right now, as he is well off the back here. He is actually catching up to Joe Johnson and Kevin Rupert to try to get himself in the top 10. And then you look at also Ralph Nolen Jr. He is in 22nd. And you look in the distance, not too far behind him, that's the race leader.
Yeah, Ralph Nolen Jr. has been able to stay on the lead lap. The problem is, Jared, that he's just so far back. They're on the same straightaway at this point. Staying on the lead lap's great, but not if you don't have a car that can get up and make passes.
James Torrey has entered pit road from 24th, 3rd position. So I don't see any damage on the number 2 machine, but James Torrey is on pit road. Brandon Elder has taken his car to the garage, so we will keep an eye on both of those drivers. 45 laps in the books as we are approaching the 20% mark in the race here tonight. It has been caution-free since lap 20, so 25-lap green flag run, the longest of the night. We had 2 cautions in the first 25 laps. The first one for Bill Benedict, spinning from 5th place, and the second one, TJ Bartel, spinning off turn 4, but no contact with anybody there in that position. So right now, Darren Bruce has led all 46 of those laps, Chris.
That he has, and we talked about Ralph Nolen Jr. back here in the last spot as far as our playoff contenders go. You can tell that he's doing everything he possibly can in that 95. He's been stepping that car sideways coming out of the corner, just trying to get a little bit more pace out of that 95 machine.
And he looked on board there with Darren Bruce for a split second, and you see him. There's Ralph Nolen at the end of the straightaway that Darren Bruce is on. Solari is also there. So both those drivers with that. James Torrey has taken his car to the garage, and he is out for the night. So that's another spot. That's bad news if you're, Dale Nearad, or if you're, Wayne Grasse and Ralph Nolen. These guys keep retiring from the race. Elder's out, Torrey's out, Benedict's out, Gil Gauck's out. I mean, we're down to 23 drivers. That's not a lot of points to play with.
No, it's not, Jared, but I think going into this race, those below the cutoff line, they knew what the goal was here at Martinsville. It was a must-win situation. It didn't matter if you could point your way in or not. Darren Bruce way up the track, going to give over the lead to Bernard Person. If he's able to get around the 06 on the inside to lead that lap, give him a bonus point.
Give him a bonus point. He wasn't. He was in before the race started, but now he is 100% in as Darren Bruce locks it up and then almost kind of got sideways there. Had to save it. Now he's stuck on the outside. Torgerson trying to make a move on. Bernard Person checks out. Here goes Torgerson. Can Bruce hold off the 98 machine to try to get himself back in position? Chris, it's very difficult to run up there on the asphalt, which is that non-painted area, if you will. There's the concrete. Up above that is that asphalt area. Darren Bruce did a good job. Slides in front of his teammate Mayu, but drops to 4th place.
Drops to 4th place. Got those tires a little superheated going that wide. I think the problem is, Jared, he didn't want to lock up the brakes and create an issue with those tires. So when he didn't slow down enough, he had nowhere to go except for straight, and that's why he went up into the outside groove. Unfortunately for him, all those drivers were able to get to the inside of him, and his car just not handling the way it did at the beginning of this race, leading those 47 laps.
Darren Bruce looks like he's got it back under control, Chris. But I want to talk about Bernard Person. Bernard Person won at Martinsville in the Truck Series race here on Wednesday night to punch his ticket to the Final Four there. He also finished second to yours truly on Thursday night in the Xfinity Series to punch his ticket to the championship there. And he's punched his tickets to the Cup Series on also on Monday night, next Monday night. Chris, I mean, that's a lot. Bobby Terrell also in the same boat, but didn't get any playoff wins so far in any of those series. But you look at it, Bernard Person, Bobby Terrell, I mean, those guys are very good. But you look at the Cup Series championship, they got two other championships to worry about. Does that take anything away from that, having those other ones on the back burner?
Absolutely not. Seat time is seat time, and that helps no matter what. That's what those two drivers are doing. They're just getting the hang of the track every single corner. Every lap they turn, Jared, is just another learning experience that helped them on Monday.
So there you go. Bernard Person, Bobby Terrell, they're first and second. Torgerson, not a playoff driver. He is third, followed by Bruce, followed by Mayu, TJ Bartel on pit road. That's not good for playoff contenders as well, because that's another point that could be going out the door. Bartel, I don't see that anything happened to him, but it looked like maybe he clipped onto the pit road entry there and may have gotten stuck on pit road there, unfortunately, for the number 88. Looking back deeper in the field, Brodie Hannah has gotten around Wayne Grasse, so moved Brodie Hannah up to 12th position, Chris. He is in a must-win situation. There is no point his way in at this point in time. It's over as far as that goes.
That it is, Jared. He's not quite half a lap down to your leader, though, so he's still moving forward and progressing. But the problem is that Bernard Person, once he got this lead, Jared, he hasn't ran a slow lap yet. He's got a second and almost a half on Bobby Terrell going into this corner here. So he's going to be catching people and lapping people. And right there, Ralph Nolen Jr. is one car in front of him.
Ralph Nolen Jr., Tony Solari, and Steve Loomis. That is a battle back here for 20th position. Tony Solari is 4 laps down, so he's not really part of that battle per se, but he is in 22nd position, last car on the track currently. We've lost 5. Gil Gauck, Bill Benedict, Brandon Elder, James Torrey, TJ Bartel is back on the track, but he is 5 laps down in 23rd. So tough break for the 88 machine. But right now, Chris, it's all Bernard Person here, and he is on top of that lap traffic. What's it like at Martinsville trying to get these guys get around traffic? Because once you start getting around traffic, it's like a conveyor belt. It pretty much never ends.
Absolutely. It's a stress fest type of racetrack. As soon as he gets up here to these drivers, you see Tony Solari peels off the track there. He's going to have to go everywhere he possibly can. Hopefully these cars will get out of the groove that he wants to go in to make that a little bit easier. But if he has to go around the outside or gets caught up behind any of this lap traffic battling side by side, you're going to have Terrell there in a heartbeat. 1 second isn't that much around this track when it's only 20 seconds.
Yeah, and you look at it, it is pretty much right now. I mean, everybody's running pretty much single file. We'll take a look through the field right now. We'll start with Kenneth Schultz back here. He is caught up to the back of Mark Figueroa, so he is in 7th place, but he is already, Chris, 4 seconds behind our race leader. Then you have Richie Coy back here in 8th and Lane Allen. That's kind of where you start to get the first group of battling. A battle for 9th with Kevin Rupert and Dale Nearad in that one. Brodie Hannah is catching this group. We got somebody wrecking on the front stretch. It's Kenneth Schultz right as we left him. And he has spun it off turn 4. Let's say, look what happened. Oh, maybe this might have been a little bit different. So he's underneath Mark Figueroa and guns it up. Oh, it just gets loose off the corner on him under throttle. It gets into the side of Figueroa. Figueroa did a nice job holding on to it. Kenneth Schultz, not a whole lot of damage, and they're going to be able to get that thing going. But we're under caution for the 3rd time tonight. Everybody coming down pit road.
Get those fresh Goodyears on the car, Jared. The times here had started to fall off pretty significantly.
No, Bobby Terrell says, I'm staying out.
Terrell wants to get up here and get that bonus point for the lead in the lap. Want to make sure that he's going to be locked into the next round. He's easily showing that he's got a little bit of speed in that machine, but now old tires versus new, it'd be interesting to see if he's able to hold these guys off. on a different strategy. Jared, I'm actually a little surprised that more drivers didn't elect to stay out once Terrell did, just as an opportunity to try to get some of their positions back.
I like the play by Bobby Terrell because guess what? He is in to the next round of the playoffs. He knows he's going to be fighting for a championship next week. Why not stay out? Why not try to do something different here? And maybe you get a caution and you save a set of tires at the end of this race, and all of a sudden you've come out ahead. I like the move because him and Bernard Person, at this point in time, they are good to go. They have really nothing to race for at this point in time except for the W.
Yeah, going out for the W, and you definitely mentioned that he's trying to save maybe that set of tires, but even more than that, I think track position here matters so much. He just does not want to give it up, even if it's 1-2 spots on pit road. Not worth it at this moment to give up.
And we just got word from Bill Benedict from one of our down on the garage pit reporters. He said didn't go as planned. He didn't hit the curb, he didn't lock up, and he just wasn't even the gas yet, and the car just came around on him. And he ended up getting 8 minutes of damage from those cars that kind of came into him. So Bill Benedict, unfortunately, out for the night, and his season right now. And he has, Chris, I mean, you talk about it. There is some pride on the line for all these drivers that aren't in the playoffs still. He is battling for 17th place. And 17th place, what that is the best of the rest. Basically, the drivers that didn't qualify for the playoffs this year. He came into tonight 46 points ahead of Andrew Politsky, who is not here. And then he also came in 48 points ahead of Sherwood Williford, who is here. So won't lose too much ground in the battle for 17th, as he almost looks to have that position locked up regardless of next week.
Well, Jared, it's going to be an interesting restart with the 5 up here on these older tires. I think we're going to have to worry about whether or not, if he picks the inside lane, whether or not he slides the tires or spins the tires so much so that Bernard Person ends up jumping him on the restart. That would be my concern if I was the 8 machine.
Bobby Terrell, interesting strategy, and as I said before, Bobby Terrell and Bernard Person, they are locked in along with Casey McMullen. I don't really like the fact that Casey McMullen didn't have to race tonight, but hey, that's the way the rules are. So congratulations to him. Gets himself into the championship for the win last week. But these other two guys had to show up tonight, and they have punched their tickets by doing so. So Bobby Terrell on the inside and Bernard Person on the outside. Bruce and Torgerson and Figueroa and Mayu in row 3. Green flag is back out here at Martinsville.
Terrell waited to the last possible second to take off there, and it really stacked them up. They're still side by side, probably the closest start we've had here tonight.
Terrell did get off the line good, but he cannot hold off Bernard Person on the outside. Person drops down. He's going to take over the spot. Torgerson now to the outside of Terrell coming off turn 4. Everybody else stacked up behind Terrell.
And you see it right there, the 06 of Bruce just trying to figure out how to get around the 5. He wants to go to the inside. He's going to force it going into 3.
I like the move by Terrell, but this is not a fun position to be in, as everybody's coming up on him quickly as we stay with Bobby Terrell here on our screen. And we got Figueroa, or sorry, that's Mayu. They have similar cars under pressure from Richie Coy and Dale Nearad back here.
And Jared, it's interesting to see Terrell was able to go right in front of the 02 machine of Mayhew and kind of slam the door, even though he's kind of running a little bit slower than these guys behind him, and really created a bottleneck there. Figueroa and Mayhew really doing whatever they possibly can to figure out how to get around, but it's causing these drivers to be stuck side by side here behind them.
Two teammates battling side by side. That's Mayu and Figueroa, 02-04. There, looking behind them, Dale Nearad, a playoff driver. He's in this kind of kerfuffle. Torgerson does the best lap of the race as he is chasing down our race leader. Figueroa will clear Mayu finally. Now, Richie Coy goes to the outside of Mayu. What a move by Richie Coy. One corner is all it took for on the 04's around, and we got carnage on the front stretch. Brodie Hannah's involved. Adam Newton's involved. Chuck Sweeting. Ralph Nolen Jr. Does not get damaged, almost did, and we are back under caution, Chris. Oh, and the two teammates burn out to turn it around, and they come together. Brodie Hannah and Richie Coy both spinning it around to get going again and made contact again. I don't think it was very heavy, but not good news. Brodie Hannah was in the top 10, or right at the top 10 when that happened. Let's take a look at the replay and see what happened here. So we got Figueroa. He's on the outside of his teammate. He gets in there. He gets in on the outside of Bobby Terrell, and he gets up in that asphalt, and the grip just goes. The grip's gone. Contact with Richie Coy. Contact with Brodie Hannah. Chuck Sweeting gets involved, and it looks like Hannah's actually not going to get that much damage out of this.
No, Jerry, but if we can go back and watch the cockpit view of Hannah, just nowhere for that 23 car to go in that incident. Just a short and small, narrow area of this racetrack. Tough luck for the 23. And even though he doesn't have a lot of damage, still frustrating when you know that you're racing for a win.
On board, Brodie Hannah. This is from the A-pillar or the cockpit cam. Apologies. And you see right there, Figueroa up the track, but you can't really see from where you are on the track. There's the spin. He gets clipped. I think Richie Coy is the one that clipped him on the way around. Adam Newton, great job by him to slam down the brakes, no contact. Hannah kind of rolls back, and then he's going to loop it around. And Richie Coy does the same thing, and just a little contact. I don't think that's going to do much to either of those cars, though.
No, not at all. It'll be interesting to see, though, how much time they go on the pit road looking to get that damage fixed. Because as we mentioned it, when you're here at this small track, all this track position matters so much more than if you were at a 1.5 miles.
Bobby Terrell electing Chris to stay out still. So this pit strategy move, that was kind of where that all started there, and nothing that Bobby did wrong by any means at all. I mean, I love the move. I would have done the same thing if I was in his position, but Mayu and Figueroa, they just couldn't figure out a way to get around him, and I think Figueroa may have just gotten a little bit aggressive trying to get in there and get around him, and ended up getting up in the gray stuff and spinning out. But that's Martinsville. 80 laps into the book, 170 to go here tonight, as we are down to one spot available among 4 drivers for the championship next Monday night at Phoenix.
And Ralph Nolen Jr. was collected in that wreck as well. Got a little bit more left front damage to that 95 machine, but you wouldn't know it by looking at it.
And he did not find it too concerning, as he did not come down pit road in the number 95 machine. He is missing the front hood there. Jason Spear with some damage, but still cooking. Kevin Rupert, TJ Bartel, he is a couple laps down in 23rd position. Chuck Sweeting with some damage. They've taken the front clip off of the 75 machine. Josh Johnson, that car doesn't actually look like it has any damage tonight. So we got a few clean cars still out there tonight at Martinsville. But we're about ready to line it up to get going again. It's going to be Person and Torgerson. Torgerson was the fastest car on the lap. Per lap of the last run, so let's see what he can do from the outside. Pace car is off, and it'll be Person and Torgerson leading them down here to restart the race. 80 laps complete, heading to 81. Green flag is back out here at Martinsville.
Great jump by both those drivers. Torgerson gets a little bit of an edge going into one, but he goes way wide into the corner, easily giving up that second position to Darren Bruce. Darren Bruce back up to second.
And he almost gave up third position, but was lucky to get the car back down the track. Bruce back to second. Torgerson drops to third. Terrell is now under intense pressure from Mayu, but he's able to clear down. Now you have Dale Nearad. He's stuck on the outside, but there must have been something that happened on that restart, because there's a big gap from Lane Allen to Wayne Grasse already, Chris.
I can tell you it involved bumpers, Jared. I heard it. I went back to look at it. A couple drivers caught up in a little bit of an accident of people locking up brakes. No worse for the wear, just losing a little bit of time on the track.
Grasse is up into the top 10. Nearad is into the top 5. So Grasse forever. Oh, we got a wreck. It's TJ Bartel and others involved. We're going to stay green here. And we are. Maybe that was a false positive. Bartel does look slow. Yes, we're under yellow.
It looks like the 17 went around in the corner, went up and got collected the 04, the 05, and TJ Bartel in the 88.
So here we go. Loomis, that blue color car coming off the corner there. There's Josh Johnson, Figueroa, and Bartel. Bartel is the first one. Oh, and Josh Johnson just gets in the back of him. So no damage, and Loomis then rolls up the track into Figueroa for some reason there. So Figueroa may have gotten some damage. TJ Bartel, no damage. He was not involved in that wreck. False positive, but Bernard Person will lap Steve Loomis here and put him a lap down, it looks like.
And just like that, Jared, we're on our 5th caution of the night here on lap 86. A little difficult track, Martinsville. Makes it a little bit harder when you have guys that are getting into you from behind. No ill will intended there, I don't believe, but that just is a component of Martinsville. You're having to watch behind you just as much as in front of you.
Shout out to Cole Thomas. Cole is rooting on Bernard Person here tonight. Bernard Person, if you're just joining us, Cole has punched his ticket to next week's championship at Phoenix by virtue of just starting the race tonight. So Bernard Person into the championship round next week. So is Bobby Terrell and Casey McMullen. So we got 1 spot and 4 drivers still up for grab. Of those 4 drivers, Nearad is the leader of that group. He's in 5th. Grasse in 8th. Nolen in 13th, and Hannah with significant damage, apparently, Chris, as that car has not come back out of pit road, in 22nd, 11 laps down. And it may have gotten some engine damage after all after that. It didn't look like it, but I would assume something had to have happened there.
Absolutely. A couple takers on pit road this time by Schultz, Cooley, and Johnson, all coming down pit road to get some damage repaired to those cars as well.
And with Hannah now 11 laps down, I mean, it would take pretty much a miracle at that point for him to be back in the championship contention, or the win is basically what he needed coming into tonight. And he was running in 11th when that wreck happened. So that's going to pretty much bring us down to 3 drivers, Nearad, Grasse, and Nolen. Of those 3, Nolen has damage. He's in 12th. And, really, he has not really shown any speed after that accident. We don't know if it's because it's damaged or if the car is, what's really going on there. But hopefully this time, with him being a little bit closer to the pack, we'll actually get to see if that 95 car is damaged or if it is, in fact, ready to go and ready to race.
That we will, Jared. It'll be an interesting show here. Bobby Terrell there kind of really hasn't fallen off quite as much as I would have expected. However, we haven't went green for enough laps, I think, for that 5 to start to fall. Starting on the outside, though, is definitely going to hurt that 5 machine, as it's got Nearad going to be on his inside there, Jared. That's going to make things a little bit more exciting, as he's going to kind of have to battle with someone who really wants to get up here and win this race to make sure he's locked into the next round.
Well, Bobby Terrell is teammates to Wayne Grasse, so how hard do you race that 03 car? I haven't seen Bobby ever play the team game, to that extent, but I don't know if he's ever been in this position either, so we'll have to see how that goes. We'll delay the answer on that one until after the green flag, as the pace car pulls off. Person and Bruce on the front row, so the top 2 back up front. Torgerson and Terrell, green flag back out at Martinsville.
That it is, and a good jump there by the 8 machine, as he's able to easily pull in front of Bruce. Now Torgerson going to look underside of the 06 machine and try to get that 2nd position back from Darren Bruce.
Behind them, Terrell racing hard with Dale Nearad into the corner. Top 3 are getting away. Nearad can't quite get clear. He might do it now.
Just able to get a little bit of power down into the corner and out of the corner, a little bit better than that 5 machine right now on those older tires. He's really able to make it up a lot of time on the exit of the corner, but Terrell is able to drive so much deeper down into the corner on that outside lane. Doesn't going to matter, though. He's going to give it up to Nearad.
He didn't give it up without a fight, so did cost Nearad some time on the top 3. Terrell checks in front of Mayu. Then behind them, we got Wayne Grasse. Maybe, I couldn't tell, maybe a little bumper. If there was bumper involved, Wayne Grasse got out of it and didn't get underneath Lane Allen, but it was awfully close between those 2. Then Sherwood Williford and Adam Newton battling. That's a battle for 9th and 10th position. Chad Lang, who's kind of been part-time here in the last half of the season, he's in 11th. Nolen in 12th, still sticking with this pack, so it looks like that car not too much damaged from that accident earlier, at least on speed.
Up front, or closer up front, with the 5 car with those older tires, Jared, just not able to hug the bottom groove like he was able to do so earlier in this race. Really almost put himself in a dangerous spot with Mayhew behind him, as Mayhew looked to get underneath him and kind of did a little bit of a blocking out of that number 5. Bobby Terrell is getting a little aggressive here, which is interesting considering he's safe and into the next into the championship race. That 5 machine still wants to win, though.
Well, Chris, you heard his interview last week. He wasn't very happy with the events that transpired at Kansas. Maybe he looked to be a very dominant car. I mean, that's another race. I mean, he could probably look down and say, I should have won 5 races, maybe more this year. But little things like that, does that kind of get in your head a little bit? And is that why he's racing that way? Because he wants to win the race? I mean, he's only got 1 win this year.
Absolutely. I mean, he wants to get the win. He wants to get up there and show that he's the favorite for next week at Phoenix. But right now, though, Jared, he's got to do a little bit of work. As Adam Newton has went around, and that'll bring out our 6th caution on lap 98.
And Newton around in turn 1, and we'll see what happened to the 20 machine, who is in the top 10. So he's behind Sherwood Williford. Chad Lang is behind him. Ralph Nolen there deeper. Jason Spear also in the picture. Coming down into turn 1, and yep, little contact 4 in the 20. Chad Lang gets in there a little bit too deep, and the 20 pays the price.
20 was roadkill, if you will, Jared.
We'll get you guys a better angle on this accident here to give you guys a little bit better perspective, but this is what happens at Martinsville, and this is what I was talking about, at least in pre-race. When somebody kind of briefly lays out the door, but that was an ambitious attempt from Chad Lang. I don't even think he was beside him. And I know Chad didn't mean to do that. Race with Chad for many seasons, many years. Definitely part of that Martinsville thing. Maybe just thought he had a run, and Adam Newton was definitely still had that position.
That he did. Bobby Terrell makes the left-hand turn. He's going down pit road to get those new tires on lap 100. He's going to have the freshest tires, but he's going to be farther back in the pack than he's been all night, Jared.
Williford, Chuck Sweeting, Kevin Rupert, Figueroa, Coy, and Newton all on pit road. I believe Coy is getting some damage repaired from that earlier incident still. 22-second stop. So, yes, Coy is still getting some damage repaired. Our defending race winner here at Martinsville. So Terrell is going to line up in 13th. He's going to have the freshest tires by 33 laps on our top 9 positions. Ralph Nolen, Jason Spear, apologies, the last of the drivers pitted on laps 66 through 68. Then we have Kenneth Schultz and Josh Johnson, who pitted on the last caution 12 laps ago on lap 87, just in front of Bobby Terrell. So, Chris, what do you think of this strategy? Where is your cards lay on this?
I didn't want to be in the back to start the race. I don't want to be in the back in the middle of the race, and I certainly don't want to be in the back at the end of the race. I think this is a little bit of a mistake by Terrell, but really going far back isn't that big of a deal for him. I mean, he can kind of play it safe, and when I say far back, he's still only going to be 13th, Jared.
And right now, the playoff picture not changing. Grasse and Nolen are in the top 10, which is great news. Most drivers would be happy with that. Problem is, the driver they need to not be ahead of them and that's Dale Nearad, who came in 11 and 12 points respectively ahead of those 2 drivers. So basically, they need to be in the position Dale's in, and Dale needs to be pretty much outside the top 10 for them to have a shot at this. But still a long way to go. We have not reached halfway here yet at Martinsville as we approach the 50-minute mark of the race. So Bernard Person, he's going to take the inside with Darren Bruce. Then we have Torgerson and Nearad there in row 2. Mayu and Allen, Grasse and Lang, Nolen and Spear are top 10. Then we have Schultz, Johnson, Terrell, Williford, Sweeting, Rupert, Coy, and Loomis there as well back there. Newton and Figueroa in your top 20. Pace cars off, and after our 6th caution, we're going to get this thing restarted. Green flag back out at Martinsville. Good start by Darren Bruce on the outside. Stays with Bernard Person. Lang a little bit loose behind him.
Able to get that car in a good position going into the corner. Just not able to get the power out of the corner. And now Bruce battling for second.
Chad Lang is having all kinds of problems off the corner. He is alongside Ralph Nolen Jr. He finally gets that car straightened out. And he is going to slide down in front of Nolen, but gets on the apron, and Nolen almost gives him a bumper there. A little bit of contact back here, middle of the pack. Up front, Darren Bruce getting pressured by Torgerson for second. And Torgerson drives by Darren Bruce, so move Torgerson back to second. Nearad still in fourth, Mayu in fifth. Back further, we talked about it before. We got all kinds of stuff going on back here. Josh Johnson up the track. Richie Coy maybe a little contact, almost contact, I should say, coming off turn number 2 there. And everybody getting it straightened up again. But my goodness, Chris, these guys racing back here like it's the last lap.
That they are, Jared. It's interesting to see these drivers. Got to give kudos to Ralph Nolen Jr., though, in that 95 machine with that incident with Lane getting loose and catching the apron in front of him. Backed out of it, didn't take the chance to get into him, and kind of just decided to lay back for a little bit, let Lane catch that car, and now just really wait until it's time. Being a little bit patient out of that 95, which is kind of something he's done all season and all playoffs long, Jared, waiting to the end to make his strike.
Here we go, Lang back here battling with Jason Spear. That is the battle for 8th place. Wayne Grasse's gotten away from that one. Single file in our top 7, but that's our first battle on track. We jump on board Ralph Nolen Jr. Lang still on the inside of Jason Spear. And these guys doing a heck of a job. Jason Spear trying to make a move on the outside here. And Lang very, very close. He is going to get the job done down to the turn. But behind them, lurking, is Bobby Terrell on that fresh rubber. He's up to 11th already underneath Kenneth Schultz.
Jared, you say lurking, but he ain't lurking at all. He's been driving left and right to get around different drivers. He did a complete dive bomb on the 91 into the into turn 1, able to make it work with that fresh rubber. Now going to do the same thing to Ralph Nolen Jr., easily making it work in the middle of the corner. He's going to get back up here and get up there quick.
Yeah, Ralph Nolen looked like he probably let Bobby go, but unfortunately that's going to open the door for Kenneth Schultz to come through, and there's a line behind him right now. Bobby Terrell moving up to 10th position. He's already on the back of Jason Spear. That's a battle for 9th place. Lang and Grasse, the next drivers up ahead. Grasse probably won't fight Bobby too much as their teammates, but Wayne Grasse definitely needs the points a little bit more than Bobby Terrell does at this point in time. But Bobby is coming to the front. Torgerson trying to chase down Person, but Person continued to lead here at Martinsville.
Person with almost a 1-second lead over Torgerson, just showing the dominance of that 8 machine. Doesn't matter if he's locked in, Jared. He's trying to get the win anyway, as now Terrell looks underneath Spear, able to easily make that pass. He'll set his sights on the number 4 now going into 1.
Up to 9th place. We started 13th, so he's already picked up 4 spots here in about 10 laps or so. So there you go. Bobby Terrell moving to the front, heading up to Chad Lang in the 4. So it's 4-5 battling for 8 and 9.
And it won't be much of a battle as that 5 car is looking pretty strong on these fresh tires, Jared. I don't know that anyone really at this moment can hold him up.
Terrell continuing to work, but up front, Torgerson just inching his way closer to Bernard Person, I should say. Not really overwhelmingly quicker, but just a couple little ticks here and there as he has got that gap down to around 8/10.
That he has, Jared, and inching is probably the best way to describe it out of this 98 machine. Not overdriving the car, but just driving it a little bit harder than Person. You know, I said that, and then Torgerson decides he wants to get loose coming out of the corner, Jared. So I don't know, maybe he is pushing that 98 machine a little bit harder than you would imagine to get these times to catch up to Person. Problem is that little bit of a wiggle out of him lost him almost 3/10 there, Jared. So it was a big moment for that 98 machine.
98, he's got a good gap on Bruce, but he did lose a lot of time to Bernard Person. We got Nearad, Mayu, and Allen. They're kind of still battling here. Grasse lets his teammate Bobby Terrell, if I could talk, move on by. So Terrell up to 7th place already. He is the fastest driver on the track, but not overwhelmingly so, most likely because of traffic, however.
Yeah, he can be as fast as he possibly wants, Jared, but right now, still 5.5 seconds behind your leader. Next car he's going to catch is going to be Lane Allen, and Lane is almost a second in front of him. It'll be interesting to see how quickly he's able to catch that 14 car.
Lane Allen, driver that we haven't talked a lot about. He got his first career Cup Series victory at Charlotte Roval a couple weeks ago. Lane Allen always shows up for what I call talent tracks that with this new Cup package require you to use the brake You don't have to use the brake too much at Kansas anymore. So Lane Allen definitely finding his niche here tonight at Martinsville. He's trying to chase down Mayu, but he is going to have to deal with Bobby Terrell, who's actually got the gap down to the leader to 4.5 seconds. So the 5 machine is definitely cooking some time off the lead.
So Bobby Terrell trying to prove that I'm wrong up in the booth and I don't know what I'm talking about by getting this car back up here in contention for the win, catching up right to the bumper of Lane Allen really quickly. He's right there, just a couple more laps and he'll be passing that 14.
Lane Allen battling for that position. Oh, he gets a little bit loose off turn 4. That's going to open the door. Terrell, easy peasy, up to 6th place.
Lane Allen recognized the speed of the 5, just let him go by so he could sneak in right behind him. That's one thing that has really hurt Ralph Nolen when all that took place with the 5 getting around. He got stuck on the outside, Jared, and lost quite a bit of positions. Now dropped back all the way to 17th, and he was 12th.
17th spot for Ralph Nolen. He is just ahead of Josh Johnson, who gets loose into the corner. Johnson slides up the track, heavy impact to the wall, and we're going to go under yellow flag.
For the 7th caution of the night here on lap 125, Josh Johnson just right in the nick of time to catch that on the broadcast, Jared. Wicked loose in that car and just overcorrects it right into the outside wall. Tough break for the 05.
He just kind of whipped it around. If he had just kept that car, if he hadn't have just tried to jerk the wheel back, I think he would have saved it. But unfortunately, massive correction there. And now Bobby Terrell is going to get on sequence with everybody. So he is coming down pit road, Chris.
That he is. It looks like everyone really up here deciding to pit. And it's interesting to see that now Terrell, even after all of that work, getting off sequence, is going to be right back on sequence with everyone.
Yeah, I don't like that call. As you see, TJ Bartell, he is going to go around to get one of his 5 laps back. He might be, he's down to 2 laps now, apologies. But we do have some drivers staying out. We have 3. Rupert, Coy, and Chuck Sweeting all staying out. Oh, and Bernard Person and Troy Torgerson battling off pit road. We'll have to take a replay of that. I think Torgerson may have clipped that exit cone. That might be a penalty. Looked very tight coming off pit road.
That just goes to show just how much that tracking position here matters, as he's doing everything he possibly can. And I believe you're right, Jared. He definitely caught that cone. It'll be interesting to see if he ends up with a penalty.
Torgerson leaving pit road. There he is. He's down the way. Here comes the 8 car, and it looks like, yeah, Bernie. I don't know. It looked like Bernie might have squeezed him out there a little bit, but he definitely hit that cone. I don't know if that would be a penalty or not. If the green cone's a penalty or if the blue cone's a penalty, I'm not 100% sure. But right now, it looks like Torgerson is not. He is dropping to the back, Chris. He is dropping to the back. So there you go. Yep, he is got a penalty for unsafe exit. And I wonder if that's going to be a lap penalty. I wonder if he'll have to come down pit road. So we'll keep an eye on that. But definitely looked like the 8 car forced him out there on that one.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of an unlucky moment there for the 98 machine. And really, that's going to make things all that more difficult for him. Believe it's going to be an end of the line penalty. Going to make it that much worse. He's going to be behind the entire field. 2
drivers stayed out. Kevin Rupert, who has not won yet this year, and Richie Coy, the defending Martinsville race winner, both staying out. Everybody behind them has pitted all the way back on the lead lap. Actually, everybody behind these 2 drivers have pitted. But on the flip side, these guys only on 25-lap old tires. And I like the move by both these guys. Non-playoff drivers, get your nose up here. Get yourself on the broadcast if that's what you want to do too. And also maybe go out here and get on some strategy moves and try to win a race. But we'll see what happens. Pace car is off. Rupert leading his first laps, or some of his first laps of the year. And Coy alongside him. Flagman holds the flag up. We're going to go back to green after 7 cautions so far tonight. Green flag back out at Martinsville. Oh, and the one car spun its tires, Chris.
That he did. That's going to give Coy the advantage going into the one. And Coy really getting tight in that number 19 machine. That's going to put the one right back there side by side with him again. Going to clear going into 4 as he dives that car down into the corner. And now Bruce is going to try to follow him on that outside lane. And it looks like he's going to make it prevail. Oh, Bruce way up the track into the wall, Jared.
Darren Bruce up the track. He's into the wall. Everybody scrambles behind him. TJ Bartel, possible penalty for passing under the yellow. He's on pit road, serving that after just getting the lucky dog. Darren Bruce is going to drop to 5th place. Kevin Rupert and Richie Coy on older tires holding the bottom line, and they are leading this race. Person dives underneath the one car. Move Bernard Person back up into 2nd position.
And now Nearad diving in on the one machine, trying to take away 3rd. The one going to have to give it to him, Jared, as he just cannot get the run out of the corner.
That's what's killing these guys on old tires. As you see Richie Coy, nothing he can do. He cedes the lead to Bernard Person. Dale Nearad can't quite get there. So now Bernard Person back to the front, Coy in 2nd, and Nearad shoving up underneath Coy. He is looking for some extra points here.
That he is, and just doing anything he possibly can to get that thing up into that 2nd position. You see it there being really aggressive. He can see the lead and knows that it's going to take that just to be comfortable going in. He wants to set the Final 4 the hard way with a win.
2 wins this year for Dale Nearad. He won the Bristol Dirt Race, the inaugural Bristol Dirt Race, and then he backed it up about 3 or 4 races later at Kansas, but hasn't won since in that 0-3 machine, so you know he wants to get a victory here tonight. He's come close a couple of times, but has not been able to seal the deal. Apologies, he did win back at Bristol paved in the playoffs. I thought he did, but so he swept Bristol this year and won at Kansas the first time. So that's what's going on with Dale Nearad. He checks into 2nd. Coy and Rupert still hanging tough in 4th and 5th. Nobody really pressing them, but Bobby Terrell going on the outside around Mayhew the hard way.
Bobby Terrell has been able to make that car work on the inside and the outside throughout the entire race, just showing how strong that 5 machine is. But once again, he's still in 6th, Jared, and Bernard Person is walking away from the rest of the field.
So 2 teammates up front, and they are walking this race out. Dale Nearad can't quite stay with Bernard Person. Terrell going to look to the outside on Rupert now. And Rupert moves up the track to try to get around Coy, and Bobby Terrell moves up further, and he's still going to try to get around Rupert. What a move by Bobby Terrell down into 1.
And Rupert in that one machine really showing that he has a little bit of speed in that car, even with those older tires, Jared.
Kevin Rupert trying to fight, just trying to get some wins as the season goes on. He is still in that battle for the top 20 in points, though there's no incentive there. The 17th position pretty much locked out by Bill Benedict by just starting here tonight. But right now, Rupert doing a good job. He does cede the position to Bobby Terrell. And now Bobby Terrell will come up on Richie Coy, the other driver that elected to stay out. I want to check in on Troy Torgerson, who had that penalty for hitting the cone exiting pits. He has moved his way to 10th place. He is on the back of Jason Spear.
And Jared, one thing interesting to note, the 7 machine of Wayne Grasse, he's got himself up into the 8th position. That's 13 spots plus from the start of this race. Just doing so cleanly. He's got a little bit of damage to the left front of that machine, but really he's been able to work things around as now Mayhew looks to go underneath him, shoving that number 1 to the outside. Sorry, excuse me, that is the 02 going around the 1 machine as Wayne Grasse is right there behind him.
Grasse disappearing for a second. That's one way you don't want your season to end, is by a connection problem. Brodie Hannah is out of the race, or at least in the garage still and not turning laps. Likely night done, 68 laps down. TJ Bartel has retired from the event now at this point in time, so we are down to 20 drivers.
And Jared, looking back up at your leader, Bernard Person has a 2-second lead over Dale Nearad in that 03 machine, as he's already caught the back of this pack. This is the biggest lead he's had all night, Jared.
2.21 seconds between Person and teammate Dale Nearad. In front of him, Josh Johnson and Adam Newton, another teammate of Bernard Person and Dale Nearad, battling hard. Josh Johnson underneath Newton into turn 1, and Newton going to battle back on the outside, trying to maintain that position. That's a battle for 19th. And now he's going to have to cede that position. He's going to let Bernard Person go by easily, though.
Wayne Grasse is going to be looking to get around Richie Coy for that 6th position. That number 7, Jared, he's doing what he needs to do, getting himself up closer to the front with 100 laps here left to go.
And the problem, again, is Dale Nearad in 2nd position is the driver he has to beat. And he needs to beat him by at least 11 or 12 positions here tonight. And right now it is in the negative for that, for both Nolan and that. We switched over our scoring tower to just the top 20. We started with 27 drivers, but those drivers below 20th position are all out of the race or in the garage with extensive repairs multiple laps down. So we will give you some updates on those positions as the race goes on, if anything changes. But right now, Jason Spear with a great run off turn number 4. Looking underneath the 7. That's a battle for 7th place.
And Jason Spear easily able to do it, bringing Troy Torgerson with him. The 7 dropping a couple of positions here, Jared. He was just kind of slow getting up to the 19, and these other cars behind him Torgerson, he's able to really drive a little bit harder. I kind of think he put the pressure on Spear to get around him.
And there you go. Spear is going to move up to 7th. Torgerson to 8th. Grassi finds a spot in front of Rupert in 9th, and then behind him in the battle for 10th position or 11th position is Chad Lang, Sher Williford, Lane Allen, who dropped back there, Kenneth Schultz, and Mark Figueroa, all in this little gaggle here. Mayu battling hard with he got loose off the corner, so he is good to go there. Bobby Terrell in 4th place. And Chris, you look at these guys up front, they're kind of in no man's land. Nobody's around them.
Yeah, it's certainly the case for Bernard Person, Dale Nearad, Darren Bruce, and Bobby Terrell, your top 4. Josh Mayhew, same deal. He's walked away from Coy. Top 5 kind of have a lot of room to race here, and that's kind of helping everyone except anyone that's out of the top 5, Jared, as the top 5 have just really walked off and left. There's 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds between Mayhew and Coy from 5th to 6th, but right now Bernard Person 2.85 seconds over Nearad, almost 3 seconds coming out of the corner.
Jason Spear with a big move kind of shoves his way down on the 19 machine. Richie Corey aware and lets the 83 car go. So Jason Spear up to 6th place. He's got Troy Torgerson following him along. Wayne Grasse will now be up next to try to get around Richie Coy. He drives deep into the corner right on the back bumper of that 19 machine.
And Wayne Grasse is just watching the 83 and the 98 pick through this traffic here, trying to do everything he possibly can to take advantage of it. Problem is, Jared, just doesn't look like the 7 has to drive into the corner like the 98 and the 83, and because of it, he's just not able to get into the inside of those cars before the window closes on him.
Wayne Grasse trying everything he can, knowing his championship hopes are leaving as every lap ticks down. We're over halfway down. We got a yellow flag. It's Kenneth Schultz. Well, that car is crab walking.
That 4-second lead that Bernard Person had over 2nd place, just like that. And oh man, Lane Allen had a little bit of contact there with the 91, and then the 91, not sure exactly what happened. Looked like he downshift. He catches Ralph Nolen Jr. in this wreck.
Oh, and there's Ralph Nolen, Mark Figueroa. So let's look at that replay again. You saw it while Chris was talking there, but it looks like maybe some contact between the 04. Yeah, the 04 gets into the 91 first and then gets into the 14. So there's a little bit of a chain reaction. Everybody does a good job there. But the secondary, what actually brought the caution is, looks like a downshift by Kenneth Schultz. And I did see maybe some smoke come from the 95. So that's not good news as everybody heading down pit road. Except our race leaders. Torgerson, the first one down. Richie Coy will follow. So will Grassi Rupert, Williford, Lane Allen, Loomis, all on pit road along with Ralph Nolen Jr.
And Jared, Ralph Nolen Jr., who has had pretty much a quiet season and quiet playoffs, not having such a quiet night here tonight, been caught up in multiple different accidents. That 95 machine is really doing everything he possibly can to get repairs done to that thing, as he's still on pit road, just hoping to get that thing over and out. But he's going to lose a lap here. That's going to make his night all that more hard, as he's going to have to battle to get that lap back.
And he is going to get trapped a lap down. Looks like Loomis might get a lap down. No, Loomis did make it out of pit road. Josh Johnson, Kenneth Schultz now will lose multiple laps because of that accident. He is now 4 laps down. So we're now down to all intents and purposes, Chris, about 18, 19 guys left out here running. So that makes everything. Ralph Nolen is in a world of hurt being a lap down in 18th position, but Wayne Grasse, 10th place. I'm kind of surprised, Chris. He elected, I apologize. He did come down pit road, so I like the move from Wayne Grasse. Now, can he start making some moves forward with those fresh tires? Because that's where he needs to go.
That he does, and really falling back there to the 14th position. Sorry, not 14th position, into the 10th position. He is going to have to do a lot of different things to get up there. It's interesting to note he didn't elect to do any pit strategy here. Getting this close to the end of the race, if he was going to try it, I think that was his opportunity to do so.
Well, he did pit. The top 7 stayed out. So, I like the move by Wayne Grasse. You got to do something different than the guys in front of you. And he was not the first taker on pit road, but he was definitely one of the that was Troy Torgerson that let him down. So we'll see what happens with those fresh tires. Can Wayne Grasse make a charge here or late to try to maybe steal a victory? We're about to find out as Bernard Person and Dale Nearad will line up. Ralph Nolen Jr., our other playoff contender that's still in the race, he is in 18th now, trapped 1 lap down, so he's going to have to hope for a caution to get himself back on the lead lap. Pace car off, and we're about ready to get this race restarted.
And that we are, Jared, and the 8 and the 03 are side by side coming to the restart zone. Green flag back out in the air. Oh, Jason Spear up into the wall, spinning the tires. That's going to lead way for Troy Torgerson and the 04 to get around a Figueroa. Those 2 drivers easily able to escape through there, but wow, that was almost a catastrophe for those drivers just on those fresh tires behind them.
And it looked like possibly, as Ralph Nolen Jr. on pit road, that's not good news for the 95 machine. Looks like possibly Bobby Terrell spun the tires, and that really stacked everybody up behind there, and that really has hurt Wayne Grasse because he started 10th, and now he's dropped all the way to 12th position as Jason Spear continued to try to battle on the outside. So is Figueroa. Torgerson trying to make up time. All the while, Bernard Person dips away.
And I believe you're right. It looks like the Ralph Nolen machine has had engine damage, Jared. He is still on pit road, and it looks like he's going to be staying there.
He's on pit road. He's gotten passed by Josh Johnson now, so he's going to drop to 19th. And unfortunately, barring a miracle, a large miracle at this point in time, as we are down to about 80 laps to go, unlikely that Ralph Nolen Jr. is going to be able to pull this one out tonight, and his chances at a championship over for all intents and purposes. Bernard Person leading from Darren Bruce, Nearad, Terrell, Torgerson looking underneath the 5 machine into turn 1. He's going to take that spot.
The 98 pitted to get new tires on that last caution. You can see them at work right there. Behind Terrell, though, a huge line of cars that are ill handling as the 02 ends up going to the outside. Chad Lang to the inside. The 02 machine really struggling handling wise, and now Richie Coy underneath him going into 2. And Ralph Nolen Jr. will join the field coming out of pit road, but definitely slow on the apron there. A lot harder track to get out back on the track, especially when they're all bunched together like this, Jared.
Battling hard out here. Nolen trying to do everything he can at this point in time, but 5 laps down in 19th place. It's going to be difficult for him. Person leading from Bruce and Torgerson. You look at some of these other drivers. Chad Lang moving forward. He is up to 6th spot, the highest he's been all night, as he is working on Bobby Terrell. Richie Coy also in that battle as well.
Up front, the second position now belongs to the 98 of Torgerson, as he's able to get around Darren Bruce and get into the wall, going into the corner of the 98 machine. Just touching that wall, Jared, trying to arc the corner as much as possible.
Yeah, and Torgerson trying to get a run off the corner, does a good job there, and move him up to 2nd position. Torgerson on 33 lap fresher tires than Bernard Person. He is already on the back of the 8 machine.
And won't be too long now, going through 1 and 2. Torgerson right there on the back bumper of the 8 can really just get out of the corner that much better than the 8. Fakes the inside, selects better of it, decides to go to the middle, kind of doing a little bit of an apex of that corner there, a little bit better than the 8. Now dives below, still not able to get around the 8 machine, and really working hard with that number 98 machine to do so.
And remember, maybe, Torgerson might be a little bit miffed over the pit road. He's going to shove it down in there. Bernard Person, though, closes the door with Torgerson's foot halfway in it, and that is not going to go over well, I'm sure.
It looks like from the angle that I was at, Torgerson locked up that right front and went straight there, Jared, and that really drove the 8 machine up into the corner there too. Neither one of those drivers given either of the other any room to race here. They really want to stay up at the lead, at least Bernard Person, and now he's got almost a 5/10, almost half a second over Torgerson, who's quickly bringing it back down.
I'm trying to find a replay. I definitely don't want to insinuate that Bernie or anybody did anything wrong when that wasn't the case. So, we want to make sure we get the right information here as you see some of these drivers battling hard. There it is. And, there was contact between these two drivers, Chris.
Just a little bit of a love tap there between the 98 and the 8. Remember, Jared, earlier in the season, these two also had an issue and took each other out, not intentionally, but just through a racing incident. That could be a little bit of a forethought in how hard these two like to race one another.
Yeah, and I think I'll go back with your original statement. It looks like Torgerson locked up the brakes. I mean, Bernard Person didn't give him a whole hell of a lot of room, to be fair to Troy, but at the same time, I think Troy did drive in there a little bit deep. Troy's going to get back to the bumper again. Can he make a move on Bernard Person? These drivers racing hard. I mean, Bernard Person at this point, he knows he's into the next round. He wants to go out there and win this race.
He does, but so does Torgerson and the 98. 98 not having the few weeks that he needed. As he catches the apron, they're going to lose a little bit of time to Torgerson. The 98 just not had the luck that he's needed from that machine and that team the last couple of weeks, trying to get up here and prove that he could have been a spoiler to this championship race. Kind of came into it as the favorite, had a lot of unlucky moments in that first round, and now having to fight for that last position, and really, he really just wants to win, Jared. That car really loose coming out of the corner.
And we have some spam in the chat. Apologies about that for anybody seeing that, as Torgerson gets around the Bernard Person machine for the position. I'm sorry, I'm very distracted by the spam bot going crazy on YouTube, but we've got it under control now, and everybody acknowledging that. But anyway, Chris, we do have word. Ralph Nolen Jr. has taken his car to the garage. He is done for the day.
And that's going to end his championship race here tonight. That number 95, valiant effort, but just got caught in an unlucky situation early on in this race. Not able to make it back up into into contention for the win. But now Troy Torgerson, as soon as he's past Person, has got almost an 0.8 of a second lead. This is the first time Person really hasn't been the strongest car on the track, and it's showing. The next person behind him, Richie Coy, also on fresh tires. He's not quite as fast, not able to catch up to Person.
He is gaining on Person, but not as quickly as Torgerson was by any means on those fresher tires. Coy had a little bit further back to go, but I'll tell you, a driver on fresh tires going absolutely nowhere. That's Wayne Grasse. He can't find a way around Josh Mayu, and he is losing time, and he is watching Dale Nearad get closer and closer, Chris. Dale Nearad has gotten shuffled all the way back to 7th place.
And Jared, to mention Wayne Grasse, restarted in the 10th position, fell back to 12th, able to get 2 positions back. But really, that 7 machine, even with the fresher tires, just does not seem to have the pace that some of these other drivers do, even on the longer runs on their tires.
And this year we've seen Wayne Grasse. He's finished in the top 3 a couple times this year. No wins, but he's been a very consistent driver. But is it just not enough aggression here tonight from the 7 machine?
I don't know, Jared. It looked earlier on that he definitely had the aggression. You can see there's a lot of damage to the back of that number 7 machine. I think that's not helping his case. Maybe not able to get the run out of the corner because he doesn't have the downforce on that machine. But really, that damage should be helping him a little bit, at least on the straights. The issue may be, though, if that car is wicked loose or wicked tight, he's got to make some massive adjustments, and he may be afraid to make them just unbeknown of what it's going to do to the car.
Dale Nearad continuing to drop back. Bobby Terrell now on the back bumper trying to get around him. All these things are kind of playing in Wayne Grasse's favor. If he was able to get around Josh Mayhew, around his teammate, all of a sudden this playoff picture could shift in his favor, but he needs to keep going forward to have that happen. And right now he is just not doing that as Bobby Terrell kind of drifts up the track a little bit. These cars on older tires not handling very well. And Chris, there are no other pit stops that are required at this point. Everybody can make it on fuel, so this is pretty much down to when the caution comes out and who makes a gamble to stay out.
Absolutely, Jared. At this point, it's going to be if you come in, it's because you have an extra set of tires down there and want to put them on your car. Nearad, though, you mentioned it, as Terrell touches the wall behind him, it looks like he's getting a little bit tight coming out of the corner, just not able to get the throttle into it that he would want. And because of that, he's really losing a lot of time, and Terrell really trying to take advantage of it. But I think you can kind of see a little bit of aggression in that 5 car, and because of it, he's kind of losing time in the middle of the corner just because he's washing up the track a little bit every time he gets close to the 03 machine.
Wayne Grasse under pressure now, not from in front, not putting pressure on, but he's getting pressure put on him by Sherwood Williford. So the playoff driver not really moving forward and now starting to move backward despite having new tires on that machine. So Wayne Grasse not moving in the direction he wants. Torkelson's opened up almost a 3-second lead, and now Bernard Person under pressure from Richie Coy for 2nd place.
Richie Coy inching his way up into that 2nd position, or trying his best to do so. Problem is that Person's not an easy person to pass by any means, Jared. He's going to really have to work hard to get around that 8 machine.
And again, we're really just kind of focused on that championship battle right now, and that is involving Dale Nearad as Kevin Rupert moves up the track. So that's going to move Bobby Terrell and Dale Nearad back up a position as Rupert on those fresh tires. That car, the handling gone on the 1 machine. Almost slides up the track into Bobby Terrell. Keeps it down, though.
Keeps it down, but he's going to dive down into the corner here, keeping the 5 up there, up the track, looking to try to get the power out of the corner, give it to the 1 coming out of the corner. Not quite clear, Jared, but that 1 really bouncing back at the moment. The 5 just not able to make it work on the outside.
Now Kevin Rupert moving back ahead, but as you see, Wayne Grasse still cannot make that move on Josh Mayhew. But now Bobby Terrell's trapped on the outside. That's not good news for the 5 machine. Nearad has stepped away from this battle for a second, and now Terrell has able to get himself down in front of the 0-2. That's kind of where our focus is on this battle right back here up front. Torkelson well out ahead. You see nobody's even in his zip code at this point in time. Largest lead of the night by any driver. Richie Coy not really pressing the issue as much as maybe I would against Bernard Person there in 3rd place.
Jared, he was trying, but he got that car completely sideways coming out of the corner. Had to use the entire racetrack to catch that number 19 machine. That's the reason he's not back up to the bumper of the 8 at the moment. Just lost a lot of time when he got sideways there. Almost ended his night, but able to gather it back up. But he went from almost the outside wall to the inside wall on the front stretch.
He is back to the bumper of the 8 machine, but these guys hemorrhaging time to Troy Torkelson. Bernard Person locks it up entering turn 3. That's going to open the door for Coy.
And this is one of those tracks, Jared, you've got to be consistent. You have to be able to hit your mark every single lap. And that's a little bit difficult as these tires age because that mark changes throughout the race.
Coy will move to second. Bernard Person drops to third. While that was going on, Sure Williford gets underneath Wayne Grasse. Move Grasse down to 11th position. Lane Allen looking underneath Adam Newton. That's a battle for 12th. And Lane Allen hits that, clips that apron, so he is not going to be able to make that move. But Chuck Sweeting has taken his car to the garage. So
yeah, he caught the wall, inside wall, coming out of turn 2, elected immediately to go to the pits, got to a stop on pit road to not bring out a caution, and retired from this race.
So that's really going to bring us down to about 17 drivers still out there making laps. Kenneth Schultz in the garage, but not on track. So Jason
Jared,
Spear.
as soon as you were saying that, his engine expired in that machine.
So there you go. 16 drivers still in the race. Jason Spear in last of those. He was up in the top 5. Oh, Josh Johnson hits the wall of turn 4 right behind him. Josh Johnson is the last car running in 17th, 2 laps down right now.
Coy was able to get around Person, Jared, but not able to close up too much on Torgerson. He's inching ever so close, but he's still 4.6 seconds behind your leader.
Darren Bruce in 4th. He's got Chad Lang with those fresh tires all over him. Chad Lang, great run last time we were here at Martinsville. Finished in 3rd position, and or 4th position, apologies. You know, this is a good track for Chad Lang, but this pit strategy that he's on definitely has helped the 4 car here tonight.
Absolutely, up into that 5 machine. The lone Canadian here tonight, Jared, really trying to get himself up and kind of make a name for himself and show what he's got. Came into this series a little bit late and just was doing a kind of a part-time schedule, but really showing that he can enjoy these difficult tracks like Martinsville pretty well. These tracks, Jared, they tend to be a driver-style track. You can really do whatever you need to in your car to make it work.
Contact! Kevin Rupert into the back of Dale Nearad. Sorry, Chris. And Kevin Rupert shoves the 03 out of the way. I don't know if that was intentional or if there was something that happened we didn't see, but Rupert definitely put the bumper to the 03. And let's see if we can get a replay. I don't see any contact between these two drivers, except what we saw on the screen. So here we go. Going into the corner on board Rupert. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, and I'm going by.
I'm here, let me by. Okay, I'm going by. That's what just happened as the 1 moves himself around the 03.
And Rupert, not really an aggressive driver, so I don't know if that was intentional, number 1. And number 2, I don't know if something happened, if it was intentional, if he was trying to send a message to the 03. We did not pick up anything on our from our spotters.
And Jared, going back up to the 4th place, Bruce and Lang right here battling pretty hard, pretty much the closest battle at the moment on the track between these two. The 4 really looking strong, really trying to get around Bruce here, but Bruce not making it easy.
Bruce continuing to hold that position right now. Oh, washes up the track. Lang is going to be able to sniff, but he can't get there.
Jared, actually the 4 got out of the throttle there, and it was interesting to see. Didn't want to make contact with the 06, trying to keep that car as clean as he possibly can with all the damage he has, and really just waiting, being patient here. But you can see what it's doing. The 1 has now caught these 2, and right there in that battle as well.
Chad Lang is there, and he is on fresh tires compared to Darren Bruce, and Bruce gets up the track just a little bit. Lang is close to using that bumper, but hasn't yet, and Bruce is going to let him go.
Yeah, Lang decides to dive it on in there and get around the 06, bringing with him the 1 machine as well. You can see Dale Nearad now has Bobby Terrell in his rearview mirror. Those 2 drivers battling it out as well as Nearad continues to be battling the handling of that car.
And right now, Nearad 15 points to the good over Wayne Grasse, so no issues. And right now, Chris, you look at it, this has become almost a must-win situation for Wayne Grasse. I mean, he's in 11th place. Nearad is in 8th, and you see, sure, Wilford gets underneath Bobby Terrell. Bobby Terrell, Chris, not to change subjects, what happened to this 5 machine?
I think just getting that different pit strategy early on, he really had to work this car hard to get back up in contention. And the problem is track position, Jared. When he elected to pit with everyone else, it kind of mired him back into the traffic, if you will, of this track. I say traffic like 10 cars is that much of a deal, but really it's kind of proven that it is with just how hard it is to get around this track. And you can kind of see it now as the 5 not making his way forward, actually losing spots. But kudos to the 33 of Sherwood Williford. He's really had a pretty strong night here.
He has moved himself up into 8th position here tonight. Bobby Terrell, by the way, won the pole back in the spring race, led 44 laps, was caught up in one of those 22 race cautions that we had in the spring. But you look at his stats at Martinsville, Chris, this is one of his best tracks, and that's saying something at a track that's very difficult. Always qualifies good, leads a bunch of laps, but in the Cup Series, his best finish is 16th. So not a track that he's has been able to put together a run there in the 5 machine. And tonight looks maybe going in neutral or reverse right now.
And Jared, back up front, your second place position. Richie Coy got away from Person, but now it seems like the 19's lost the handle in that car as the 8 is all over the back bumper of Coy, but still 7 seconds behind your leader, Torgerson, as he's now catching and having to go around lap traffic.
Coy and Person. Coy loose off the corner. Person looking, and hard to believe that the car, with those old tires, has found that plateau already. Person may have given him a shot off the corner. Person doesn't make the move, though.
Person said, all right, yep, I did that. I'm sorry. Take it back. I'll get it cleanly another lap.
We couldn't tell 100% from our angle, so don't be quick to judge us up here in the booth. Not that anybody is, but sometimes our camera angle looks like things are going on where they're really not. So just want to clarify that. With that, just looked like there might have been a bumper given, but we didn't go back and look for sure. Person is there as we look out the back of Coy.
And he's really being aggressive here on that 19, trying to get up there. Catches the curb there, Jared. Has to get out of it and loses a little bit of time there, giving Coy about a 4/10 of a gap between him and the 8 machine. But immediately, it looks like that car is back onto the bumper. That's just how quick the 8 really seems to be at this moment compared to the 19.
Chad Lang is faster than both these drivers here right now. His Person is right there. I mean, he is on the bumper of Coy. So Chad Lang is going to be coming. He will probably catch these guys before the end of the race at this rate. He did a 22.6. These guys are doing 24.5s.
And Jared, the issue with these two is that because they're battling as hard as they are, they're not able to get good lap times here. You would think that Coy has the advantage with those fresher tires. Problem is that the handling's kind of going away. That's slowing both the 19 and the 8 machine up here, and that's why it's making it that much easier for Lang to close up.
Oh, and Person, if there wasn't contact there, I would be surprised. It looked like he just shoved him off the corner. I mean, you couldn't put a piece of paper between them if there wasn't any contact. Person looking, and he just can't get there.
No, he just is not able to get the dive into the corner. He can roll the middle and exit of the corner way better than the 19, but unfortunately, Jared, he's just not able to get the entry of the corner, and because of that, he's just not able to make this thing work, as now he's going to try a different line here, kind of swinging it wide to see if he can get a better run off the corner. He's there this time, Jared.
He's there, Coy, and they're side by side, and there we go. Person, a little bit of a move, and he makes it happen. Coy battling back on the outside into turn 3.
Now, Jared, oftentimes when you get that car up in that outside groove, they'll be able to get the power out of the corner a little bit better than you. That's going to give the advantage back to the 19 as he's able to drive that thing deep into the corner, getting it almost sideways in front of the 8. Wow, Jared, I don't know how he hung on to that one.
Yeah, I think he was sideways. I don't think he got it sideways, almost sideways. I think he was 100% or more sideways, and now Person's going to slide in and move Bernard Person back to second place. But it's pretty much all for naught, provided we don't get a caution. Troy Torgerson has locked this thing up. He is catching 16th place Jason Spear. Now, Jason Spear is our 14th place. Jason Spear on old tires. Lane Allen and Steve Loomis, they are a lap down now. They have both of those drivers have new tires. So that shows you just how quickly Torgerson's moving through the pack. Jason Spear saw Torgerson coming, and he has put an extra gear in that machine. Just ahead of them, on the same straightaway as Torgerson, Chris, is Wayne Grasse. So Wayne Grasse, his time is running out to try to make something happen here tonight.
That he is. Looking at Coy, once Person got around him, that machine's falling even farther off. Person looking a little bit faster than Torgerson as Torgerson makes his way through traffic. It's going to make things all that more interesting as he's kind of closing the gap between himself and that 98.
Yeah, last lap by, let's see here. Right now, Torgerson did a 20.15 and Person at 22.6. So Troy Torgerson's quite a ways up. 9 seconds at Martinsville is about like 30 seconds at Kansas. So, I mean, it's a pretty huge gap. But caution comes out, things change. The other gap we're kind of monitoring is Chad Lang. He is catching Richie Coy. Him and Kevin Rupert battling for 4th and 5th. Rupert finished 7th back in the spring. Chad Lang 4th. Richie Coy was the winner. So that these guys can get around this track. All the while, Sherwood Williford up to 6th place, having a great run there in that number 33. Darren Bruce in 7th. He led a lot of laps in the earlier part of the race. Nearad has dropped to 8th place. Bobby Terrell in 9th, and Josh Mayhew trying to hound Terrell for that final spot in the top 10. Wayne Grasse. Oh, we got Jason Spear in the wall in front of our leader. We stay green.
Man, and Torgerson for a moment was about to have a heart attack as he knew that was happening and hoping that the caution would not come out. Spear able to keep it going and not bring out the caution here, but certainly a wild moment for sure.
13 drivers on the lead lap, and there are your last 3. Grassi, Figueroa, and Adam Newton. Your last 3 drivers on the lead lap. Mayhew in 10th also in this battle. Bobby Terrell also in this group. All these drivers we're talking right now, except Wayne Grasse, pitted on lap 126. Grasse on new tires, he's almost a lap down. So right now, it doesn't look like Torgerson's pushing the issue too much because he's got an 8.5 second, almost 9 second lead on Bernard Person. Why push it at this point, right, Chris?
Absolutely. There's no reason to get up here and lap these cars. Torgerson not in the playoff chase. There's no reason for him to go up there and try to put the 7 and the 5 a lap down. So he's kind of just riding behind these drivers. The issue is, Jared, he may be doing that to the benefit of Person, but right now, Torgerson's still able to maintain and even gain on that 8 machine.
Richie Coy, just checking in, that gap is down to 1.5 seconds between Lang and Coy. So Coy losing a ton of time to Chad Lang. I don't know if it's going to be enough for Lang to get himself on the podium for the first time this year, but it's going to be close. Rupert is also there. Then we have Williford, who's kind of caught this group as well. So Williford actually the fastest driver on track right now. So sure, Williford coming to the front, but definitely not enough time to challenge for a win.
Unless there's a caution. You never know what can happen here. Williford, though, looks to have a better long-run car than a short run. So even still, though, Jared, he's looking to break into the top 5 if he can figure out a way to get around this one car.
Yeah, and sure, Williford, back in the spring, Williford finished 34th, so he's looking for a much better spot this season. Best finish this year, 2nd place, Chris. And you look at his statistics throughout his career, he has won a race every year since 2018. And if he doesn't get it done tonight, which is unlikely, or next week, this will be the first year he hasn't won in the Cup Series.
And Jared, not to break anyone's heart, but the 7 machine directly in front of your leader, Troy Torgerson, is right there. He's going to have to pass the 7 car in just a few moments. You can see the 7 is definitely going to be battling and making it difficult for the 98, but the 98 just has a better drive out of the corners. You can see the 7 getting sideways, trying to stay in front of your leader.
Wayne Grasse wants to stay on the lead lap, needs a caution badly. If there's a driver on the track that needs a caution, it's Wayne Grasse. As there was some potential there. If roles were reversed, you could put some pressure on Nearad, but at this point in time, If these drivers are lapped down, I mean, Nearad is pretty much safe, even if we get a caution. Torgerson not pushing the issue too much as we come to 5 to go. Grasse opens up that gap just a little bit.
5 to go with a 7.5 second lead over Person. No reason to really push the issue as Grasse gets way up the track. That's going to open the door to the 98. He's there. He's going to pass him going into 3.
Or is he? Grasse, deep arc off the corner, and yes, he gets way too high. He's going to lose a spot in the process, and most likely championship chances are over for the 7 machine. So our final 4 are all but locked. Person, McMullen, Nearad, and Bobby Terrell locking themselves in. Torgerson leading the race. He is going to get it done here tonight. 3 laps to go.
You say that like there's not an opportunity for a caution, Jared. We've seen this by numerous drivers all season long with a late race caution. Don't think we've seen many green-white checkers, though, so that would be interesting if it's going to happen. But that caution is going to have to come any time now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes as a commentator, you're trying to bring on the commentator curse, but 2 laps to go, it's not looking very likely as everybody's kind of spread out. Don't really have any battles on the track right now, so to speak.
Absolutely. It looks like Lang not going to be able to catch Coy, but he does still have Rupert and Williford right there with him. Those 3 drivers is now Torgerson takes the white flag. That's going to be it. The next flag will end the race, Jared. This has been a pretty great, impressive run by the 98 and a little bit of pit strategy to do it.
Troy Torgerson decided to pit on lap 159. He got eliminated from the playoffs in round number 2. A tough break for a driver that was looking for a championship, but he's going to get some redemption here tonight and grab the victory at Martinsville, beating Bernard Person by 8 seconds here tonight in a dominating win. Person will grab 2nd. Coy will hold on to 3rd. Lang catching but can't catch. Gets 4th, followed by Rupert, followed by Williford. Darren Bruce comes home a lonely 7th. Nearad holds off Bobby Terrell at the line for 8th place. Terrell 9th, his best Martinsville finish in Cup Series. Mayhew with the top 10. Figueroa 11th. There are your lead lap drivers with Newton, Grasse, and Spear all finishing a lap down in 12th, 13th, and 14th. But the night belongs to the 98 machine of Troy Torgerson.
That it does, Jared. A little bit of strategy, a little bit of play there in that 98 machine, able to make it work and really put in a dominating performance in the latter part of this race to get up here and score the victory at the paperclip. And Torgerson going to go on to do a Davey Allison parade lap on the outside there, waving on the virtual fans here at Martinsville Speedway, kind of just enjoying the moment and really doing everything he possibly can to soak this in after a rough playoff season.
So there you go. There's your final numbers as Dale Nearad clinches that spot over Wayne Grasse. Nolen comes up short as well. Hannah and obviously Brian Helm, who was not in the race tonight. And Chris, you also have to remember Troy Torgerson, Richie Coy, those guys still fighting for positions in the points. They can all finish as high as 5th as Grasse, Nolen, Hannah, and Helm will all get pushed back into the kerfuffle and will battle for 5th place next week. Jeff Winter is highlighted. He's the last driver in the playoffs there at the beginning of the year. So Bill Benedict leading that spot. He has a 28-point lead over Sherwood Williford for the best of the rest non-playoff drivers heading into Phoenix. Chris, what a race here tonight at Martinsville.
Yes, it was. At times, the 8 looked like the best car on the track. Sometimes it was the 5, but in the end, Jared, it was the 98.
It was the 98, and we're going to see if we can get right into the interviews here. Actually, we're waiting on, maybe waiting on one more to join us here tonight. But, Chris, what a race it was. And we look ahead to Phoenix next week. 4 drivers, they're here. What do you expect at Phoenix next week?
Well, every one of these drivers, they're going to have to bring their A game. It's going to be all about bringing the fastest possible car to the track next week. Nothing else really you can say about it. If you're not faster than the other 3, then it does not matter how the things fall. You're going to have to figure out and have help going into it to be able to win the race and the championship, because that's really what you want to do, Jared. You don't want to just finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th with those guys behind you. You want to win the race and just show how dominant you can be at that track, and really just get all the bragging rights that you possibly can. If you're the drivers that end up with a little bit slower car, you've got to rely on strategy to get your way up there. But this track at Phoenix next week, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be hard. It's a little bit bigger than this track here, almost twice as big, but it's still one of those tracks where you have to be able to know how to use the brake and when to pick up on the throttle.
And we're going to have all that next Monday night on Full Throttle TV to end the season at Phoenix. But first, let's talk to the guys that finished in the top 3 here tonight. And I'm standing by with our third place finisher, Richie Coy. Great run for you, podium finish, and good job here tonight.
Thanks, Jared. We did not come to the night with a good setup. I was not a third place car. I was probably an 8th or 9th place car. We took a gamble with that last caution to come in and take some tires, just like Troy did. But Troy got a little bit better through traffic, and we just didn't have the long run car to keep up there.
Well, let's talk about the race. I mean, not a lot of cautions here tonight. I mean, we had 7, but they all came within the first 100 laps. Then it pretty much went green flag from that point on until lap 159. And that's when you elected to come down pit road. Was it an easy decision? I mean, where you were sitting, you got caught up in a couple wrecks, had some damage. What was your goal in this race here tonight? Try to go out there and get a W?
Yeah, I mean, since we're not in the playoffs, that was our goal, was to come out, try to do the best we could, try to win, be a little bit of a spoiler. But we had an up and down race. We started moving forward early, got into an incident. I'm not sure what happened. It was a 3 wide. I was in the middle. If it was my fault, I apologize. But I don't know what happened there. We got caught behind. We got about a minute's worth of damage. And then the first couple of cautions, I was actually able to get down to, I think I got all the damage done. And then I had saved a set of tires to do that last pit stop. So yeah, that was kind of worked right into the strategy.
We come out of Martinsville. I mean, right now, you know, you look at your point position. I mean, are you obviously you're in the top 10. Everybody else is going to get reset back down to the same level you're at. Is finishing in the top 5 of the points kind of your goal heading into Phoenix here next week?
Yeah, it's twofold. We're going to do. I'm going to try to go and win in the desert out there. I got to run on do some testing on the new track, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but iRacing did a fantastic job with the track. It looks fantastic. It raced the little bit of practice we got. It raced really good. So we're going to go out. We're going to try to win the race, and if we can get top 5 in points, that would be a bonus.
Well, Richie, congratulations on a solid night, grabbing another podium finish. No, it's probably what you were probably wanting to be in the playoffs rather than just kind of having an also-ran status. But nonetheless, great job here tonight. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word on tonight's race.
Well, we're happy with any podium finish here in FTSR. You know, these everybody runs really good here, and it's tough to get these podiums as it is. So we're thankful we got a podium tonight. Got to thank my team that's supporting. Unfortunately, they got wrecked pretty early, so they were actually spotting for me with my dad and everybody. So we had a whole team effort there. Thanks to you guys in the booth. Fantastic job as usual. Can't wait again to watch it back tomorrow and watch to see all the up and downs and stuff. And thanks to everybody for what I thought was a pretty good race tonight again.
All right, Chris, there you have it. Richie Coy, third place finish, solid run for the driver of the 19. I believe you've caught up with our runner-up tonight, Mr. Bernard Person.
That I have. Bernard Person finishes second here tonight, led 120 laps. But Bernard, what was it going to take for you to be able to clinch the victory here tonight?
Pit. I should have pitted.
Absolutely. We saw the strategy work out for Troy Torgerson and Richie Coy. They netted big gains after pitting there at the end. But still, 120 laps led Bernard coming into this race. Was this what you were expecting?
Yeah, I just wanted to run, up front, stay out of trouble. Somebody had to run, let him go. But still run, not just run my race.
Absolutely. Coming into the race, just with the amount of drivers that ended up showing up for tonight's race, clinched you into the championship 4. Did you know that in the race, and did you adjust your strategy at all because of it?
Yeah, no, I know I had a pretty big lead. Anything could happen at Martinsville. So I was just running my race and not worrying about what the points were at, and just wait to the end of the race, and what happens.
Absolutely. Is there anyone that helps get this number 8 machine to and from the virtual track?
Yeah, everybody on my team, Spears Motorsports. We work really hard on these sets, and yeah, that's about it.
Absolutely. Next week, playoff finals coming to the end. Championship race between you and Bobby Terrell, Casey McMullen, and Dale Nearad. What's it going to take to be able to score the championship and repeat here in the 2021 season?
Just get a good setup underneath me and just run consistent lap times. Pit stops is going to be really important as well if we pit on the green, and stay out of trouble and be up front at the end.
Going into that race, is there anything different that you'll do to prepare yourself and this team for that final race?
Just try to make a long setup, and qualifying is going to be extremely important as well there. So we're going to need a really good qualifying set.
Absolutely, Bernard, and congratulations again on the P2. No, it's not the win that you wanted, but still a great finish here at the Paperclip.
Thank you, Chris, and I want to thank you guys for always putting on a great show. I also want to thank sponsors, Darkmatter Designs Cup Series, and Brodie for putting together a great league, and all my teammates for putting in all the hard work so we can come out here and have a good race.
Absolutely, and we'll be looking next week and watching that number 8 machine. Best of luck next week.
Thank you.
And Jared, Bernard Person led 120 laps, but wasn't able to lead the final ones. That belongs to the driver you've caught up with in that 98 machine.
Yeah, I'm down here in victory lane with Troy Torreson grabbing another victory here tonight. Congratulations, Troy.
Hey, Jared, how about that, man? Wow, we had a fast car tonight. Probably not as fast as the 8, but we got on a little bit different pit strategy there towards the end of the race, and it paid off.
Third win of the year for you. First in the playoffs, unfortunately. And you got it here at Martinsville going away. I mean, you talk about that pit stop, but let's talk about earlier in the race. I mean, you started out there in 6th position, kind of were working your way through the middle of the field, kind of slow race to begin, some cautions here and there. But when we got going, what did that 98 car feel like out there?
Well, it was the 4th win of the year for me, Jared.
Oh, sorry, 4th win, yes.
Third win of the playoffs. I got 2 in the first round there.
You're right, yeah.
I knew we had a good car. We raced it. The team had practice sessions, and we raced it Thursday night, and it was just super fast. So at the beginning of the race, I mean, we were just riding around. We weren't, pushing anybody. If somebody Bobby needed to get in, or the 06 or somebody there, we were just riding around logging laps, because I know how this place can be, man. I mean, if you're not, it's very easy not to make it to the end of the race. So we were just biding our time.
Yeah, apologies, Troy. I totally forgot about the first round. I don't know why I just did, but anyway, you look at the next, the pit stops, 120 lap around lap 126, I believe it was. You're coming out pit road. Looked like you're going to beat Bernard Person off pit road, and you hit the cone. How'd you feel about that pit road exit? From our view, it looked maybe like a little bit closer than maybe you expected it to be.
Yeah, it got real close there. That was pretty exciting race off of pit road there. But I talked to Bernie, and he said he didn't see me coming out on the right hand side there. But like I told him, there's no sense to wreck a couple of cars there. So I moved over just a little bit because it was close. I mean, I think we were 8 wheels there, in one machine. But we tapped it, we dropped, and I'm here to race and have fun, man. I mean, it was fun, coming back up through the field, and yeah, it's just one of those things that happen.
Well, as you said, and I messed up, you got your 4th win of the year. Unfortunately, not part of that championship 4, but what is this 98 team going to do, or how's it approached next week at Phoenix?
We're putting in time right now. Been on the track for, several hours there. I like the new track, or the layout, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think everybody's on the same boat here. It feels a little bit different. Everybody's starting out, man. We'll see what happens, man. We're gonna come out here, race, and have fun, and finish off the year.
Well, Troy, congratulations on another win this year and a dominating performance once we got going here tonight. But I'm going to let you have the last word here and turn the mic over to you.
I got to thank Frontline Esports, man. One heck of a setup under the car tonight, man. The team has been nothing but phenomenal since bringing me in, and God, it taken me under their wing, and I absolutely love it, man. We got a Bruzy racewear on the car, man. I ordered some gloves a couple of weeks ago. I can't wait for them to get in, man. I really appreciate them being on the car. It's an honor. I'm really glad for that. Yeah, I got to thank you guys for up in the booth, man. You guys do a heck of a job broadcasting. Got to thank Darkmatter Designs for sponsoring the league. My team. A couple of the guys aren't here anymore, but that doesn't keep them, quiet in the garage. So I mean, they're busy at work, and it showed tonight, man. We had a really fast car. I don't think if we didn't have the different pitch strategy than the 8th, then I don't know if we would have got him, because he was really fast. But hats off to Bernie. But yeah, and thanks for Brodie for the league, man. It's been a long but fun year. So thanks.
All right, Chris, that was our winner, Troy Torgerson, grabbing another victory here tonight, but unfortunately won't be in the playoff Final Four. But as he said, long year, 37 races in the book, and next week will be 38th and final.
That it will, Jared. Going to Phoenix Raceway, it's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be a hard-fought race for 4 drivers: Bernard Person, Bobby Terrell, Casey McMullen, and Dale Nearad. All 4 of them going to have the opportunity to win a championship here in the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series. But that's next week. Tonight, it's all about Troy Torgerson.
And Troy Torgerson, what a win it was. And he did win the first 2 races of the first round, but the second round and the third round have not been kind to Troy Torgerson overall. But ending that round, or the playoff rounds, I guess you could say, on a high note, what can that 98 car do next week? We'll find out. But as you may not know, if you're just now joining us, Bernard Person, Bobby Terrell, Casey McMullen, and Dale Nearad, your championship 4. They will race for the championship next week. Bonus points are out the window. Everything's out the window. It's all about who finishes ahead of who, and who will claim that championship next week at Phoenix. We'll have all the coverage beginning at 9 p.m. next Monday night. But for tonight, for Martinsville Speedway, for Full Throttle Sim Racing, for Darkmatter Designs, for Chris Spear, I'm Jared Carr. We will see you guys out on the track.